not a challenge. There are no points. We do not have a recipe book to hand out. There is no fancy triple coconut chocolate blueberry pancakes that you can make that are grain-free or sugar-free. Okay? It is not creative. It's not sexy. 14 days of very simple nutrition put into a system that requires you to control your portion size through three things. Okay? Three macronutrients that we have: fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. Okay? I'm going to go through this because I know you guys have questions, and a lot of these questions will be individual questions. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll fly through this stuff, ask questions as I go along, and then we'll have plenty of time at the end. Okay, and we can work with you at the end to help you guys get set up where you should be set up for the next 14 days. Okay, but it's going to be great. We start tomorrow. You have all day today to prepare.
Monday, right?
Sorry, we're starting Monday.
Yeah.
And you want to start today early? Start today early if you want. Okay. This is what we've got. Okay? The nutrition is what I want to cover first. This is set up on a blocking system. Okay? Set up on a blocking system. Just think in terms of this. One block. Okay? All this information is online. It's on our resource page. Okay? All this information is on the resource page. One block is 7 grams of protein, 9 grams of carbohydrates, and 1.5 grams of fat. That goes into one block. Okay? Questions on that? And seriously, please, just ask questions. Okay. This is simple, correct? I'm going to move on. Okay? So now, you need to know what's 7 grams of protein, what's 9 grams of carbs, and what's 1.5 grams of fat. Okay? We have a chart. Okay? This chart tells you exactly what that is. This chart will say exactly what that is. Example, a one-block meal. Okay? One block. 1 ounce of chicken is 7 grams of protein. Okay? 1 ounce of chicken is 7 grams of protein. Okay? So that means, you've got to think about this now, that means that inside of that 1 ounce, there's 7 grams of protein. Okay? If this said, if I wanted this to be ground turkey, okay, it would have to be 1.5 ounces. Because the density of the protein is different for different food types. Right? Does that make sense to everybody? There's different amount of protein in chicken than there is turkey or ground beef. Am I losing you or someone? Okay,
Yeah.
good. All right, we'll get to the good stuff. Okay. Half an apple. Okay. 9 grams of carbohydrates. Half an apple. 9 grams of carbs. Okay. The chart blocks plenty of other things that are carbs. 4 cups of spinach is 9 grams of carbohydrates. Okay. Good. 1 tablespoon avocado. 1.5 grams of fat. 1 tablespoon avocado, 1.5 grams of fat. These macronutrients go into this to make 1 block. Okay? Perfect. If you understand this, okay, you can now start to create a meal. Okay? And again, there's no recipe book. I'm not putting a bunch of stuff together. It's simple. So if you simplify this, you will be successful over the next 14 days. And if you look here, I can create a 2-block meal by just doubling the portion size. It's easy. Okay? 2 ounces of chicken, 1 apple, 2 tablespoons of avocado. Okay, now I have, as opposed to 7, 9, and 1.5, I've got 14, 27, and 3. It's a 2-block meal. Can I assume that everyone understands what I'm saying? Thank you very much. Okay. All this stuff is on your blocking chart. Okay, all of it. And some of you have noticed that there's things that are on this blocking chart that I personally may not recommend. Okay? For example, there's alcohol on it. Yes, sorry. I'm sorry. This would be sorry. Okay. There's things on this chart, okay, that we normally wouldn't recommend. But we want you to know that you can, there's two things to this, okay? You can block anything. Okay, you go to McDonald's and block McDonald's if you want, okay? Because it's just controlling your macronutrient, okay? And you can also block alcohol. You can block grains, okay? You can block foods that are sugary, no problem, okay? We're not talking about eliminating these foods from your diet. We're just talking about portion control. Now, that doesn't mean go crazy, okay, and go block McDonald's every day. If you look on this blocking chart, it gives you ways to eat foods, okay? And I would recommend this. I would say when you're thinking of the foods that you're eating, prioritize two things, okay, to make it simple. Two things. Number one, okay, is this food easily digestible? Okay, can I digest this food? Is it okay for me to digest it? Okay, grains the way they are, probably not so much. Okay, especially some grains. So I've talked before about this, and this is also on some of our blogs, which we say like soak some things, sprout these things. Okay, if you're going to have rice, soak it first. Okay, if you're going to have nuts and seeds, sprout them. Okay, that helps with the digestion piece. Okay, the other thing that is really, really important with this, because some of you who want to lose weight are going to be limited in your macronutrient. I'll go over that in a minute. You'll be limited. So make sure the food is dense. Okay, make sure the food has nutrient density to it. So when you're eating, think of those two things. Number one, is it easily digestible? Something I can digest. And number two, okay, is it nutrient dense? Right? Nutrient dense meaning like I could take a piece of white bread, okay, which is a form of carbohydrate, okay, and I could also take 4 cups of spinach. Which one is more nutrient dense? Okay, the green cruciferous vegetable is much more nutrient dense. Thus, it's going to last longer for you. You're going to want to take that into consideration as you go through this. Questions on that? Perfect. Okay, non-blocked foods. Okay, and well, first of all, I'll just say like these are our blocked foods. And we haven't blocked foods that are crazy and creative and weird. They're simple foods. Okay, and over the next 14 days, you should look at this like, this is simple. I'm not going to get crazy. I'm just going to eat simple. And you can stick to these blocked foods the whole time, all 14 days. You can easily stick to this, no problem. Okay? If you're going out to dinner, if you want to eat foods that are prepackaged, you can block those as well. Okay? You can block these foods. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky, what you have to understand is that on, put that back there, and I'll give you guys an example. On a package of, let's say, turkey bacon. Okay, you see a package of turkey bacon, you look on the back, and you are going to see that turkey bacon doesn't just have protein, although it would fall under, the macronutrient of protein. Why? Because that's probably the largest macronutrient in turkey bacon. Okay? So in other words, I'm not going to take a piece of turkey bacon and be like, how do I block this? Okay? I'll just block the amount of fat in it. No, you're going to block the largest macronutrient in that food. Okay? You block the largest macronutrient in that food. Take sunflower seed butter, for example. Okay? There's protein in that. But what's greater in that, the macronutrient that is greater in that, is fat. So you would block that under fat. Does that make sense to everybody?
So the protein that's in it doesn't count for it.
Great point. Okay, so he said so the protein in it doesn't count as protein, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky. These foods that are pre-blocked for you, they have already determined the fact that one egg is 7 grams of protein. There's also 5 grams of fat in the egg, but because the largest macronutrient is protein, it goes under the protein block. So don't worry about going like, well, there's still some protein in that sunflower butter, so do I need to back that out of my protein that I'm blocking here? No, you do not. Okay? It's already taken into consideration because no one food is just fat. No, not very many one foods are just fat, just protein, or just carbohydrate. Okay? Questions on that? Because that's important for you to understand. Yeah. Those are the 3 things that you look at for these purposes. Okay, so how to block foods that are not on our blocking chart. Does that make sense? Okay, I know some people are going to be traveling. Not everyone's going to be preparing all their meals over the next 14 days. Okay, here's what I highly recommend. Start off with food scale. Okay, start off with food scale. It's going to take you 2 or 3 days, maybe, okay, to figure out. Because some of you might not know right now by just thinking like, well, does anyone here know like what's 4 ounces of chicken look like? 4 ounces of chicken is like the size of your palm. Okay, but you should know that, and you should know like what is 1.5 grams of fat? How many almonds is 1.5 grams of fat? It's about 3 almonds. Okay, you should know that, and you'll learn that. Because then you're going to go out to eat, and when you supersize your McDonald's, okay, you're going to be like, oh, that, what's the big McDonald's thing called? Big Mac? Big Mac? Thanks. Christine knew that one. You're going to look at the Big Mac, and you're like, oh my gosh. Like, that's like 15 bucks right there. Okay? So you'll now know, okay, when you out to eat, okay, this is how I'm going to control my portion size. Does that make sense? Yes?
So is this 3 meals a day and no snack in between, or?
No, good question. Great question. Let me go to that. This is, and so let me move on. Transition, right? Some of you have been with us and we've done like these 21-day challenges where we've given you these menus and we've said, you know what? No sugar, no alcohol, no grains, choose lean meats, choose fish. We've gone through this. This is a transition. This is saying like, you know what? You've got that stuff in your arsenal now. You have the knowledge, okay, of what foods you've eliminated from your diet and what foods are effective for you, what foods cause weight gain, what foods cause hormonal problems, okay? And now you know, or you should have an idea of what works for you and what doesn't work for you, okay? And you're going to just transition now to take those same foods and you're going to now block them, okay? So you will block those foods. And you will block them in this way. We will start with, I'm going to get to your question here, 11 blocks for women and 14 blocks for men. 11 for women, 14 for men.
Per day.
Per day. Yes, not per meal. Per day. Okay? And there's a lot here, but the first question here, which was really good, is like, how do I break those up? Okay? You can break them up however you want. You can break them up however you want. It was designed, this blocking system by a guy named Dr. Sears designed this to say a breakfast, a snack, a lunch, a snack, and a dinner. Okay, so that's eating 5 times a day. Okay, that's what it was designed to be. So if you take your 11 blocks, it's a 3-block breakfast, it's a 1-block snack, it's a 3-block lunch. Okay, it's a 1-block snack, it's a 3-block dinner. Make sense? Okay. However, that may or may not work for you. It may or may not work for you, and that's totally fine. I'll give you an example. I eat 4 blocks. I'm supposed to eat 4 blocks for breakfast, but I can't do it. That's too much for me. Okay? So I'll eat at like so I'll eat my breakfast.
3 almonds is way too much.
So I'll eat my breakfast at about 6:30 in the morning. Okay, I'll eat my breakfast, but I can't get all that food down. So my snack, instead of 1 block, now that turns into 2 blocks. So I just carry it over a little bit. Does that make sense? By the end of the day, however you want to do this, okay, you can have 11 blocks or 14 blocks. Okay, that's ideally where we would start. Yep, go ahead, Jenny.
So if you like, maybe can you break up a block?
Great question, and I'm so glad you asked that. No, you can't break up a block, and there's 2 reasons why you can't break up a block. Okay, 2 reasons why. Number one, okay, because